Will the flat Earth dome be removed and the truth unveiled on June 30th? On May 5th, 2023, to the great joy of all conspiracy theorists, the Silo series was launched on Apple TV. The series is based on a totalitarian post-apocalyptic society in which, after a certain catastrophe, people live in underground bunkers that stretch for tens of hundreds of floors underground. Residents obey harsh and sometimes unjust laws, believing that this contributes to their salvation. The series is based on the novel by Hugh Howey, a big fan of the post-apocalyptic theme. However, it's more like a special global project to bring to the masses some previously secret knowledge, just as it was with the series Lost, Westworld, Colony, and so on. Conspiracy theorists have something to think about, that is, to answer the question, what did they want to say to the masses? The action of the series takes place in a huge underground shelter where the remains of people were brought after some kind of a global catastrophe, and these people, already in the 33rd generation, are solving the quest on the topic, who are we, where are we from, and how should we proceed? Silo is not about literature, but about the fact that Apple has stirred up an interesting project that shows how a herd, isolated from the outside world, has been living in ignorance for centuries. It does not remember its history, does not really know how society is really managed, and has no idea what is beyond the boundaries of the world known to the herd, because the way out is a one-way road. In the series, if someone from a society living in the underground bunker suddenly decides to go outside, they immediately dress him up in a biohazard suit, put him in an elevator, and throw him out to universal applause. And then everyone watches through the webcam as the poor fellow who found himself on the surface bends over and diminishes. All resisted the authorities were sentenced to the exit. Does not this remind us of anything? It's all very reminiscent of our world. We do not know our real history. Travel of free swimmers is limited to the North and Antarctica. And the only way to leave the world is through the Zugundar, and the planet there is, as it were, a good mayor and an honest sheriff who play in the series the role of global administration. But neither of them are decision makers, just as none of the global bosses decided most likely to start the great changes now observed. All these big global bosses are quite old people. At this age, people become hardened conservatives. They never want to change anything. But then suddenly everyone was concerned about saving the planet, fighting the pandemic, climate change, and introduction of digital money, although any sane person at the age of 70 doesn't care what will happen to the planet and even to the Milky Way in 100 years. And then all of a sudden, all the shuffling Nobel and laureates are concerned about the future, so distant that even the grandchildren would not see it, and it's weird. In addition, the behavior of the inhabitants of the underground city in the Silo series has clear analogies to the animal world. As the author of the experiment explains, if fruit flies or any other insects are locked up in a jar with a lid for 3 days, and on the 4th day they will continue to live in the jar, even if they open the flat Earth dome or similar device, even if the lid is taken off. The same thing happens with more complex creatures such as elephants. While they are small elephants, they are kept in a corral with wooden stakes driven into the ground, which even an adult elephant cannot pull out. They are trying, of course, to pull it out, but to no avail. Therefore, when they grow up, it is enough to enclose them with any pegs, and the elephant, out of habit, will not even try to knock them over, although it will be enough for him to simply spit on the fence. There is a similar topic about wolves and flags, of course, and this also applies to people who, for the most part, are more cowardly than wolves and dumber than elephants. And against this beautiful background, the famous global office of Apple suddenly appears airing Silo, the TV series Silo, which will make even the mentally deprived think, and conspiracy theorists and flat earthers by the end of the first series generally begin to have a nervous breakdown. Why all this is shown, whether the enlightenment of countries and peoples will be curtailed like a colony, that we do not know. The last episode of the first season will be released on June 30th. Most probably the world will still continue to exist by then, and people hiding from a giant solar flare will not be dragged into the dungeons, but this, of course, is not yet certain. Of course, this is a fantasy series, and please leave your comments. This is on Soul Ask. Thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.